talked about the summary of Pride and Prejudice, and today we will finish the class, inshallah. Today we will talk about some of the themes, major themes of Pride and Prejudice. And what is theme? A theme is a fundamental and often universal ideas explored in a literary work. So universal, approved by all. Fundamental, basic. So, fundamental and universal ideas explored in a literary work. So, what are the themes? The themes of Pride and Prejudice are love, reputation, class, family, integrity, and gender. So, to start with, first we have the theme of love. Pride and Prejudice is all about love. It's about love between couples. It's the central theme of Pride and Prejudice is love. It's based on love. Pride and Prejudice contains one of the most cherished love stories. So one of the desired love stories in English literature. The courtship between Darcy and Elizabeth. So this is our main concern. There are other love stories like Jane and Bingley, but central is Elizabeth and Darcy. As in any good love story, what happens? The lovers must elude and overcome various social obstacles, small obstacles, to overcome these things, and they become finally successful to get married or they live happily ever after. This theme is the theme of Pride and Prejudice as well. Beginning with the tensions caused by the lovers' own personal qualities. There were some tension between Elizabeth and Darcy when they saw each other first, right? Unlike Jane and Bingley. Elizabeth's pride makes her misjudge Darcy on the basis of a poor first impression. So, when first Elizabeth saw Darcy, she has a very negative impression about Darcy. While Darcy's prejudice against Elizabeth's poor social standing blinds him for a time to her many virtues. Darcy also felt the same, and it was vice versa. Both of them hated each other at the first sight. But later, Darcy found various virtues of Elizabeth. Of course, one could also say that Elizabeth is guilty of prejudice and Darcy of pride. The title cuts both ways. So, one has prejudice, Elizabeth has prejudice, and Darcy has pride. This is suitable for one another. Austen, meanwhile, poses countless smaller obstacles to the realization of the love between Elizabeth and Darcy, including Lady Catherine's attempt to control her nephew, Miss Bingley's snobbery, Mrs. Bennet's idiocy, and Wickham's disease. So there were some social obstacles. What were they? Lady Catherine's attempt to control her nephew Darcy, Miss Bingley's snobbery. Miss Bingley is the sister of Bingley, Mr. Bingley. Mrs. Bennet's idiocy. So we all know that Mrs. Bennet was a very idiotic character whose only goal in life, aim in life is to getting married her daughters, right? And Wickham's deceit. We all know that Wickham is a very deceitful person. In each case, anxieties about social connections or the desire for better social connections interfere with the workings of love. So, the desire of social connection to be connected with each other, these interfere with the workings of love. Love and social connection are interrelated in this novel. Darcy and Elizabeth's realization of a mutual and tender love seems to imply that Austen views love as something independent of these social forces, as something that can be captured if only an individual is able to escape the warping effects of a hierarchical society. So Darcy and Elizabeth's love shows that they are independent enough to overcome any social obstacle. It is said through these lines. So Austen does sound some more realist, or one could say cynical. She was either cynical and realist regarding about love, using the character of Charlotte Lucas. So, for example, Austen was more realistic and cynical about Charlotte Lucas, who was the friend of Elizabeth. So, what she did, she got married for money with Collins. So that does not always dictate marriage. I mean, Austen tries to say that her cousin always dictate marriage. So sometimes money matters, which we are also preparing this society in the 21st century society. Yet with her central characters, Austen suggests that true love is a force separate from society and one that can conquer even the most difficult of circumstances. So love can be overcome through most difficult circumstances. Like in the movies we see, the last scene, train scene, right? So there were lots of obstacles between the hero and the heroine. His father beats the hero a lot, but finally the heroine, the father allows the heroine Kajol to live her life with Shah Rukh Khan, right? Reputation. Private prejudice depicts a society in which a woman's reputation is the utmost importance. So private prejudice is a story about reputation, where we see that reputation comes, in which incident, like the time when Lydia elopes with Whitman, right? So a woman is expected to behave in certain ways. Yes, women have less independence in the society at that time, during the beginning of 18th century. And you can see stepping outside the social norms makes her vulnerable to ostracism. So if we are out of, we don't follow the social norms, we will be vulnerable in a society, and ultimately it will be our ultimate doom, especially for women. This theme appears in the novel when Elizabeth walks to Netherfield and arrives with Marius Curse. Oh, there is a similar situation when Elizabeth come in a situation. There is a situation when Elizabeth was in a Marius Curse and came to Netherfield, and in front of her there were Bingley and her and his friends. So there was a similar situation about reputation. It was portrayed this way. At other points, the ill-mannered, ridiculous behavior of Mrs. Bennet gives her a bad reputation with the more refined and snobbish Darcys and Bingley. So when Darcy and Bingley are refined manner in terms of reputation, and Mrs. Bennet portrays a woman of bad reputation. Austen is talks gently, satires gently about the snobbish or not people, for example. But later in the novel, when Lydia elopes with Wickham and lives with him out of wedlock, the author treats reputation as a very serious matter. So those are Mr. Collins, Mrs. Bennet, with Darcy, Bingley. They were little poking about social, about the satire of reputation. But when it comes to the elopement between of Lydia and Wickham, it was something more serious. How so and why? By becoming Wickham's lover without benefit of marriage, if a girl is elopes with, leaves home without saying anything and lives with a man without marriage, Lydia clearly places herself outside the social home. So, this is about completely against social norms, and her disgrace threatens the entire Bennet family. So this disgrace means Ashumar. This disgrace threatens the entire Bennet family, her family, whole family, including her 4 sisters. The fact that Lydia's judgment, however credible, would likely have condemned the other Bennet sisters to marriageless lives seems grossly unfair. So why should Lydia only have fun, or her life is on asterisk, but why her 4 other sisters will suffer, right? Why should Elizabeth's reputation suffer along with Lydia's? Just like I say, Darcy's intervention on the Bennet's behalf. Okay, in this regard, what Darcy did, Darcy offered money to Wickham to marry Lydia. So if Darcy didn't manage Wickham to get married to Lydia, would there be any marriage between Darcy and Elizabeth? So in this regard, the author Jane Austen is sometimes often criticized for not exploring in deeper way about the reputation in private business. All right. So what about class? The theme of class is related to reputation. So class is also related to reputation in that both reflect the strictly regimented nature of life for the middle and upper classes in Regency England. So class is strictly maintained between middle and upper class British people of the Regency England. The lines of class are strictly drawn. So class are strictly drawn, but how we are sure about it? We see when the Bennett sisters join with Bingley and Darcy. There are class distinction between the middle class Bennett family, the five sisters, and between the upper class Darcy and Bingley, right? So this thing is discussed here. Austen satirizes this kind of class consciousness, particularly in the character of Mr. Collins, who spends most of his time toadying to his upper class patron, Lady Catherine de Bourgh. Jane Austen satirizes Collins, right? He was often boastful about his status. He was always licking the feet of Lady Catherine de Bourgh because she patronized him. That's why. So this, to get along with the class status by hook or by crook, this bad thing is often satirized by Jane Austen. Though Mr. Collins offers an extreme example, he is not only the one who holds such views. Like Mr. Collins, Mr. Darcy also have believes in dignity of his high lineage. So Darcy is also boastful about his lineage, not about only money, but also lineage means bongshu. Miss Bingley is also snobbish. She thinks that she is the only one, others are inferior to her. And Wickham, who will do anything to bring money or to make reputation. Mr. Collins' views are merely the most extreme and obvious case. Yes, we know, others are not that much extreme. The satire directed at Mr. Collins is therefore also more subtly directed at the entire social hierarchy and the conception of all those within it and its correctness in complete disregard of other more worldly virtues. So, through Mr. Collins, Jane Austen put some message, gave some message to the society of the then time that was available in between people. Through Darcy and Elizabeth and Bingley and Jane marriages, Austen shows what? The power of love and happiness to overcome class boundaries and prejudice, thereby implying that such prejudices are hollow, unfeeling, and unproductive. Of course, this whole discussion of class must be made with the understanding that Austen herself is often criticized as being a classist, right? I mean, she didn't maintain any character who is from a lower class and who speaks well about who can defute this class distinction, right? There were no such greater character from becoming from a lower class, right? So Austen does criticize class structure, but only in a limited slice of that structure. So there was no depth of class structure in Austen's writing. Then talks about family. Family is an integral theme in a novel, of course. So what we can learn about family from Pride and Prejudice is that though Darcy was from a high class, he was not able to take any decisions unless his aunt Catherine de Bourgh allowed him to do so, and the decisions of the lines of marriage of the Bennet sisters was also dependent upon the decision of Mrs. Bennet, right? So these are the important issues that family holds. So we are not out of family. So even if we are of higher class, either males or females, they are bound to stick to the rules of a family. Integrity. Elizabeth Bennet considers herself to have very high standards of integrity, as she she is often frustrated and disappointed by the way she sees others behaving. So others' behavior that time was very frustrating, according to her. She complains often bitterly to her sister, "The more I see of the world, the more am I dissatisfied with it, and every day confirms my belief of the inconsistency of all human characters." So she is very cynical, she is very disappointed about the people of surrounding around her. She behaves in ways she considers consistent with her definition of integrity by refusing to marry both Mr. Collins and Mr. Darcy when he proposes the first step. Okay, she is very confident about her integrity, right? So that's why she first ignored the offer of Mr. Collins and Mr. Darcy. Elizabeth thinks it is very important to only marry a man she loves and respects, despite the pressure to achieve economic security. Yes, people, the girls got married that time for economic security only, but before that comes love, according to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is against the norm that I need money, so I will get married to any people. By the end of the novel, Lizzie's commitment to integrity has been rewarded because she marries a partner who will truly make her happy. Lizzie means Elizabeth. So she loved someone, then she got married. She has also come to see that she can sometimes be too rigid and judge too quickly. Elizabeth had problems. She was very rigid and she judged so quickly sometimes, since she was initially mistaken about the nature and ethics of Wickham and Darcy. So she was perplexed, she was puzzled about Darcy and Wickham. The novel endorses the importance of integrity, but it also reminds readers not to be too quick to pass judgment on who has it and who doesn't. So the novel is all about first impression is not the last impression. Alright? So finally we have the gender issue, the theme of gender. Gender is a key theme in Pride and Prejudice. The story takes place at a time when gender roles were quite rigid and men and women had a very different set of options and influences. So men had higher status and roles in society where women had nothing to do. Marriage is a pressing question for female characters like Charlotte Lucas and the Bennet sisters, because marriage is the only way women can achieve economic stability and autonomy. This was the scenario of the early 18th century that time, we know already, right? As upper class women, they would not have been able to work to earn a living or live independently. So if you are either an upper class woman, they would not have been able to work to earn a living or live independently. So they even don't have any life to live independently. They were not able to do any work, any job, right, outside home. Marriage offered one of the only ways. Marriage offered one of the only ways to move beyond these families. So marriage was the only solution. However, women's marriage ability relied on an impeccable reputation for chastity, and for women like Georgiana Darcy or Lydia Bennet, a reckless decision to trust the wrong man would permanently ruin their future prospects. So, for marriage, chastity was very important. So, if there is a little bit of slight of changes or their chastity is harmed a slightest, so their life would be miserable, just like we see in case of Lydia and the sister of Darcy. Lydia's elopement causes Lizzie to explain with horror that she is lost forever. So, when someone elopes, it's like she's lost forever. So everything is finished. Their reputation, her sister's reputation, her own reputation, everyone is gone. Everything is gone. If Lydia is living with Wickham without being married to him, her reputation will be destroyed. This was the common thinking of that time. So that's all for today, and now on we are done with Pride and Prejudice. On next class.